Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2 and we are going to presentation about our review paper with occurring the head of the project is use of CodeIgniter frameworks and implementation with simple web application. Before we do our presentation, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Ardi Sejati.
And my name is Gloria Yoland Septryana.
And next, the background explanation.
So now I'm Gloria will explain about the background problems of the paper that we review. The development of technology makes people tend to use programming language to make a development technology. In using programming language like PHP programming language, programmers tend to use framework and also use CSS or cascading style sheet that is already available in the programming language. Why like that? Because it is more comfortable and more convenient for the programmer to use the framework. From the paper that we review, we conclude that the writer made a simple web application using PHP programming language, also CodeIgniter framework, with the CodeIgniter 2.1.1 and also using JavaScript library with jQuery 1.3.2. Next is I'm going to explain about the framework. Framework itself is defined as a collection of scripts, special class and functions that will help developer or programmer in handling any problem or issues in programming. Next, for the framework types. So from the paper that review, the writer wrote three types of framework. The first one is framework PHP, and then framework of JavaScript, and then the last one is framework Ruby. So first of all is framework PHP. PHP or Hypertext Preprocessor is a high-level programming language that runs at server-side and always used by backend team. So some example of PHP frameworks is Cake PHP, Symfony, CodeIgniter, Zen, Laravel, and Yi framework. Next is JavaScript framework. JavaScript is a programming language that is used by front-end for making the interface of the website to be more interactive. With JavaScript, website will be more dynamic. So JavaScript is a programming language that runs in the front-end side and also is a high-level programming language, same as PHP framework. And some example of JavaScript frameworks is AngularJS, Polymer.js, Vue.js, React.js, Ember.js, and Meteor.js. And the last one is Ruby framework. Ruby is a web application framework that includes everything needed to create database-backed web applications according to the Model View Controller or MVC pattern. And Ruby on Rails is a Ruby framework or the example of Ruby framework.
CodeIgniter. CodeIgniter or CI is a framework for programmer who wants to build a website with PHP. Basically this is a framework that fast step to make a website rather than developing a website from a normal flow. With using the library from the CodeIgniter, the programming flow will be structured and more logic, and it will be more easier to understand for the developer or other programmers. So we have pros and cons. After this, Gloria will explain the advantage of using the CodeIgniter.
Now I'm going to explain about the CodeIgniter advantage that they have. So the first one is the file size of CodeIgniter is so small. And second one is good documentation. And it has a good hosting compatibility. And then there are no strict coding rules. So it is freedom for the users to use it. And then good performance. And it is easy to integrate to other system. And it has a little configuration. And then the last one is CodeIgniter is really easy to learn.
CI disadvantage. The first is does not emphasize on the code maintainability. which means it's hard to do kind of like a migration. So it's very difficult for the CI to do that. And the library is very limited, which is CI library is not many as like other framework, but I think there is some library, but not much like other framework. And the last is there is no special editor for CodeIgniter. So this is the web application that we took from the paper. So there's not much any feature because this is only a basic web application. So the first is that we can see is the navbar. If we click one of the navbar, for example, like the home button, so the home button will the background will change to the white. So the user can see where's the where we are right now. Like for example, like in the home. So the background is going to change to white. And then we have the sidebar menu for if we are in the bottom of the web, we can still easy navigate to the uh, other web or even other features like the blogger or contact. So the sidebar will do the work. And the last thing is we have the search bar, which means we can search any content that available in the web or the or we want to specify or the user want to specify the search of any kind of word. So the search bar will do the work. Okay. The conclusion are the framework is defined as collection of script, especially class and function, that will help developer and programmer in handling any problem or issues in programming. CodeIgniter is a framework for programmers who want to build a website with PHP. CodeIgniter is a quick way to build a website instead of building website with the usual coding flow. By practicing libraries, the programming flow will be structured and business logic process will be more easy to understood by other developers or programmers. Because it's easy to use, the CodeIgniter used to reduce the line of code from take many lines and reduce the lines because the framework itself.
Lastly, now I'm going to explain about the suggestion that we have for the paper that we review. So from this paper, we think it will be better if the design of the website or website application is more up-to-date style or more modern style. Because from our point of view, we think that the website itself is too basic for the user interface. And then, other than that, because of the programmer still using a local host, so we think that it will be better if the programmer can connect their website to hosting so the website can be accessed from anytime and anywhere. So that's all from us for reviewing of paper. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.